Dear Reddit. I don't really know what I should write or how, but I have to talk to someone about it. It turned into quite a bit of text, and I think I already know that I shouldn't be married any longer, but I would like to know up from down so that I can avoid ever getting into a relationship like this again. I have never really been an outgoing guy, but have been content with being with myself, always liked reading books, playing music, computer games and all those other stuff where you can lose yourself to something. This is probably why I only have been in one relationship before the one I am in now, and I really regret ever getting together with the woman who I am now married to. When I look back at it now, I can see that it really started as soon as we had gotten together. I think it was the third day, or something like that, when she wanted to have a quickie. Apparently I didn't know how to have a quickie, as when I was playing with her breast, suddenly she just tells me to stop. That this wasn't a quickie, that I was taking too long and now she didn't want it anymore. 2 days after that, after almost having sex again, she told me that I wasn't much of a man. I think I just blamed it on me being unexperienced, and that her behavior was just to be expected, is it? I also told myself that it would get better. Well, of course it got better, had sex, did fun things together and all that. Then, after a few months, there was problem with a new common person in our life, that she really started to hate. I tried explaining to her why I thought he did the things he did, and then she got furious with me, called me names, and ended it all with telling me that I should go and fuck him in the ass if I liked him that much. I don't remember what I did after that, but afterwards I didn't dare to talk against her when she started talking about that guy. It is a bit fuzzy what happened after that, but a few weeks before Christmas I had been feeling really bad about our relationship, and one morning she woke up and was furious that she didn't get to train, as I had promised to wake up early and go with her, but I didn't. Of course I know that I should have done as I promised, but I just remember the way she said that she didn't train because of me. After this she went to class and pretty much commanded me what to do while she was gone. Nothing of this sounds really bad when I type it, but at the time, and all things put together just made me flee the place, and I ended up back at my place, crying. After a while she called me and I went back to her place. Just 1 or 2 days before Christmas, I had been at my place wrapping Christmas presents, and on my way back to her place, I got this idea that I should buy her some flowers. I did this in a grocery store nearby, and was in a hurry so I didn't really look at what I bought, but just took some Christmas arrangement that they had. Some white flowers, a little green around, and not at all fresh, which I didn't see. I guess I should have took my time to look at what I was buying, but I didn't. When I gave them to her she started shouting and screaming at me. They were first of all 2 white flowers, and pears and white is what you should give to the dead, and also the flowers wasn't fresh. I don't remember if they were like brown or dead already, but we put them in a vase afterwards. Of course I can understand that she was upset, but she just continued, and continued, and continued until I started crying, put on my shoes, and left. After walking around a bit, I returned, and then I guess we did something and I don't really remember Christmas. There are a lot of other situations like this, but I can't write all of them, because no one is gonna have the patience to read it all. But then, when we'd been together for a little more than a year, I proposed to her, broke up for a few hours a week later, got married when we'd been together for 2 years, and now that is almost a year ago. For all of these 3 years, I had heard so many things about how I do things wrong, how I make her feel miserable, how I am not by her side, that I don't have any ambition, that I don't do anything that is fun, that I don't fight for us, I am not romantic, how lazy I make her, that she started to be unambitious, like me, and I guess a lot of it is true. I like to socialize, but not really to go to social gatherings and meet new people. I make stupid things, I don't really have any ambition. Know me in 10 years, I'm not a romantic kind of guy, that comes up with fun, impulsive things. But some of it just makes me furious to think about. It's not that I'm not by her side, it's that she does and says things I don't like, or brings up things I think is private, and expects me to agree with her and be supportive. Instead I get really defensive, which I know is horrible of me, and tries to make it sound not as bad as I think she makes it sound. Sometimes I think I manage to be by her side, but then, afterwards, I get to hear how it really was. The thing that she feels that she is lazy and has started to be like me, I don't even know what to say about. You get affected by the people around you, so maybe I do that. And of course there have been a lot of good time also, and there is a very likable, awesome girl that I am married to. But all this other stuff is slowly eroding me away. A week ago, I broke down, or however I should explain it. We had been away from each other for a week, only chatted over the internet, and I had started to feel really bad. She had been telling me that I, yet again, was not fighting for her, and had really never done it. We were friends before we were a couple, and didn't ever really date. It all ended with her telling me, as a joke, she told me later, not a joke, but not entirely serious, that we were now divorced, and I, who wanted to show what a man I was, said, good. Now I can fight for you and win you back. Then I just started crying, crying and crying, crying that I didn't even know that you could do, and afterwards I didn't answer the phone, logged out of all ways of communicating with me, and only called her 3 days later when she had gotten really scared and called the police, which went and found me. I know that this is one of the most horrible things I have ever done to a person, and I can't imagine what it has to feel like to not being able to get in touch with your spouse, with no word of what is going on. I knew that she was probably scared for me, but still didn't answer. For 3 whole days. Now I've started talking to her again, planned to fly and be with her, and everything was going to be alright. But tonight when I called her on the phone, I got a very thorough explanation of how angry she was that I just disappeared like that, how bad and unmature it is to do something like that, and that you can't just let things go when you are a grown-up. Which I understand. You have to be strong, have to work for the things you want. Then she told me how a real parent has to physically punch behavior like this out of their kids, and this is probably why I behave in the way I do. That you have to hit them so they feel the real pain, and know that emotional pain is just not something to listen to. That if my upbringing had been better, like hers, I would probably be a better person. So, after that I think I told her I couldn't talk anymore, couldn't take it, and hung up. When she called a little while after I answered, as I don't want to just disappear again, and actually managed to tell her kind of the story I wrote here now. She laughed about the part with the flowers, 'cause they were really dead, don't you remember? I don't remember what I said later, but I hung up. I also logged out of everything again, and turned off the phone. Tried to find someone to call, like a psychologist, but I guess they work normal hours. So, I thought I could actually write it down, and I have to say that it feels good to just have done that. Is there anyone who has had some similar story? How do I actually manage to not get back together with her and instead get a divorce? I really don't think I can live like this, but why haven't I just left her already? I just feel effing stupid. How do I know if I make stupid things in relationships? There are probably a lot of things she's told me that is true, and that I ought to stop doing, but I have not idea how to know what is what. I never really ask people how their relationships are like, but only see them from outside. How is it, actually? You can't be nice with each other all the time. What do you do when you disagree? If you really, really hurt each other, what do you do? Can you hurt someone without wanting to? Update, me, 25M, with my wife, 30F, 3 years. How do I get out, stay out, and never ever find myself in a relationship like this again? It has now been over 3 weeks since I decided to divorce my wife. I have solved all, or most of the practical matters. I've talked to a lawyer that will handle the legal part, moved all my stuff and almost found a therapist to talk to. I have not spoken to my soon-to-be ex-wife, only sent her 2 emails. One about that I want to get a divorce and one with how to solve some practical matters. I can understand that this isn't enough for her, and she's tried to call a bunch of times, sends text, messages me on Facebook and sends emails. All because she wants to talk to me, and I guess get back together. Now she wants to meet me face to face and I am terrified of meeting her again. The situation is as follows. I'm from country A in Europe and she's from country B. We both studied at the same university in country A, and have an apartment there. I got a job in country C, where the company fixed an apartment for the first few months, and me and my soon ex lived there. 5 weeks ago she went back to country B for medical reasons, because it was easier for her to get a doctor there. So when I decided that I couldn't live like this anymore and wanted a divorce, I was in country C, she's in country B. I then went back to country A, to get the divorce and move out my stuff from our apartment there. Now she's back in country C, and I've been told by my colleagues that she's going to stay there until I get back, so she can meet me. My flight there is in a few days. I can't really sleep and I even had a nightmare about her last night. I was in some house, knew that she was searching for me and I just tried to hide, and was scared as hell until I woke up. What do I do? If it was up to me, I would never ever meet her again. I don't want to have her affect how I behave, and hide from her, but I have no idea what will happen if I meet her, and that scares the shit out of me. Is it possible to just cut someone out like this? If I have to meet her, how do I handle it? Update 2, me, 25M, with my wife, 30F, 3 years. How do I get out, stay out, and never ever find myself in a relationship like this again? I read all of your advice in the previous post, and thank you for your answers. Last weekend I met some friends and family, packed my stuff and went back to country C. First of, my ex's bank card had just expired, and of course the new one was in country A, and of course she couldn't leave country C before she got it, even with a full tank of gas and lots of cash. I brought it with me anyways. It was hers and if it meant she would leave, I was happy to bring it. I told her that someone would bring it to her on Monday, and hoped that this would mean that I wouldn't have to see her. Well, that was wrong. When I arrived at the airport in the town I'm working in, she was standing there, huge smile on her face, all dressed up, welcoming me back. I don't remember exactly what I said, but I immediately handed her her bank card, said something about how I didn't want to speak to her or anything at all. She continued by hugging me, talking a lot about how we should get together, talk about it, solve it together. You get the picture. I was quite panicky at this moment, As I was waiting for my luggage and didn't want to just leave it there, I tried to walk outside, but she followed me there. Tried to tell her to stop following me, but she wouldn't. It all ended up with me going to the employees of the company I was flying with and asking if I could hide with them. Sounds quite silly when you just write about it like this, but I was terrified. The employees were really nice and helpful though, got my luggage for me and told me where I could find a taxi. After getting into the taxi, my lovely ex-wife stoked the taxi, talk in through the window and asked something like, "Are you 100% sure that you want to end our marriage over a misunderstanding?" I still don't know what she meant, but I told her yes, and then the taxi driver to drive me away from there. I ended up sleeping over at a friend's place that night, as I didn't want to be alone in a new apartment. The next day, Tuesday, went okay. I went to work and started on getting back into it. Through some co-workers, my ex told me that she needed some pictures on my computer, and sure I could give them to her. Found some USB sticks and moved the things she wanted to them. I also had some papers that she was gonna get. I didn't give them to her, but an employee at my company was gonna go meet up with her the next day and solve some other stuff. My ex was still living in the company apartment, and as my employers are way too nice, she could stay there the whole week out. Everything was quite nice until Wednesday afternoon. When I had just gotten home from work, my ex started knocking on my door, wanting to meet, talk, and also I hadn't given her all the files that she wanted. Now, for most of us the last thing could be solved by sending stuff over the internet, but apparently not with her. When I heard her outside, all I did was to quietly sit down on my chair, and sat there until she left. Then I covered all the windows, and just hid. I think I watched a movie. But here's when it gets insane. She calls the police, that arrive at my apartment and ask if everything's alright. They also says that my ex wants the keys to our apartment in country A, and I tell them that I don't have them here, but a friend in country A has them. Which she knows. She also wanted some other things that I don't have. I invited the police in, and they were quite concerned with how my hideout apartment looked like, and I agreed with them. They asked questions about how I was feeling and if I wanted to go see a doctor right now, but I told them that I was going to see one the next day, and that I get a lot of support from the company. I think this was when one of the officers went over to my ex and asked her to write down what it was that I have that is hers. After he got back, the paper basically said, some more stuff on my computer, stuff I don't have, and that she wants me or the company to pay her trip back to country A. The policeman told me to give the files to her, and that she can't demand more things from me after this. They also tell me that they are going to tell her to leave me alone, not go around my apartment, try to contact me or anything not with the divorce. If anything happens, I should just call the cops and they will take care of it. So, she called the police and I got help from them. So nice. But I don't think that is what she expected. After they left, I removed all the covers from my windows and cleaned up the place. The next day I met a doctor that listened to my story and gave me a referral to a psychologist/counselor. I haven't gotten one yet, but it is on the way. I also put more files on USB sticks, stuff that I thought she already had, and sent them to her. It has been quiet these 2 nights, so we'll see how everything turns out. I don't know what will happen, but everyone around me is helpful, so I believe things are turning for the better.